Hi everybody, I'm Corinne, the Program Specialist at 4-H Tidelands Nature Center on Jekyll. Thanks for joining us this Thursday. Today we're going to be telling you a little bit about our maritime forest. Since we're on Jekyll, a barrier island, we have sand dunes on one side of the island facing the ocean and salt marsh on the other near the mainland. In between, we have our maritime forest. Maritime forest is a climax community, which means all of the animals and plants live together kind of in balance, and they can stay that way for a pretty long time. Before we head into that climax community to check it out, we're going to start out here at the beginning on the dunes. We're going to take a little adventure up the Camp Jekyll boardwalk and head into that forest. Pay attention to the plant communities as we go. To the maritime forest. Did you notice how the plants changed as we made our way up the boardwalk from the sea oats and grasses on the dunes all the way to our climax community here? That change in plant communities is called succession. Now that we're here in the maritime forest, let's take a closer look at some of the unique plants in the area, such as our epiphytes. Do you know what epiphytes are? They're air-loving plants. They get all of the nutrients they need from the air around us and rain. One of the really cool ones we have here is right on our oak tree branch, our resurrection fern. Resurrection fern is a really neat plant. You can see how it looks kind of dead, all brown and crumpled. But all it needs is a little splash of water from the rain yesterday, and it brightens up into these bright green leaves. Resurrection fern is neat because it can lose up to 97% of its water and still survive, compared to other plants that can only lose 10% of their water. Another really neat epiphyte we have out here is our Spanish moss. Spanish moss is super cool because of the relationship it has to these trees. Can you guess which tropical fruit Spanish moss is related to? That's question number 1. Leave an answer in the comments if you know. Let's go a little deeper into the forest and see what we can find. We've made it to the grandfather tree. This is a really cool live oak tree. The live oak tree is actually the state tree of Georgia. Live oaks were used back in the Revolutionary War. They were harvested to make ships, such as the USS Constitution. It was actually nicknamed Old Ironsides because cannons would literally bounce off the side of the ship. That's how hard and dense the wood is on these trees. You can notice how the branches bend and twist as they reach to get more light for their leaves. These live oak trees can be massive, and they're so cool because of how far they stretch those branches. Let's take a look around and see if we can find any critters living around the tree. Look what I found! This is a gray rat snake. This is Houdini. He lives over at the Tidelands Nature Center on Jekyll. And we do have several rat snake species in Georgia. And these are actually really good animals to have around. If you see a snake out in the wild, you should just leave them there, living their lives. They do a lot for us in eating a lot of the vermin, like mice and rats that could live near our houses. And if they eat those, it means those mice and rat can't transmit diseases to us. So if you see a snake out in the wild, just leave them out there, give them their space, and they'll do what they do and they won't bother you. Thanks so much for joining us today on Jekyll. We hope to see you next week. Bye!